Welcome back to Roommate Confessions. Today we have a very special guest with us, entrepreneur, swimsuit, Sports Illustrated model, and sister of mine. Drumroll, please. Ella Halikis.
Woo!
Welcome.
Thank you so much for that intro. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. She actually is my real sister. I know I'm the prettier one. Sports Illustrated, hit me up.
Okay, great. Hit her up, please. She needs a model contract immediately.
Immediately. Welcome.
Thank you so much, sister and Steve, for having
Absolutely.
me. So excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, we're excited to have you.
With all the traveling you do, we're very glad you finally made it here, and
I know.
more pleased that you're ready to rock and roll with some stories in terms of some roommate situations.
Yeah.
I love it.
Let's dive in.
I know. So Ella has been living on her own now for how long?
Well, I still have my one roommate, Nikki, so I'm not technically alone.
Okay, but moving, when did you move out? How long have you lived?
Of our house. Oh, yeah. Well, I went to college first at Washington State, and then I transferred to University of Hawaii, and so then that was like 2016, 17, and 18. And then in 2019 moved back home, and now I'm living in LA in 2020, so kind of bounced around to a few different spots.
Love it.
So yeah, just throughout college was like had different roommates, and now I have a great roommate, but it took a while to get there.
Totally. It usually does. Tell the listeners a little bit about yourself. We kind of give you like a entrepreneurial swimsuit model, but like tell the listeners just a little bit about you.
Yeah. Hi guys, I'm 25 years old. Living in LA. I do curve modeling, content creation, confidence coaching, all that fun stuff. I have, built an online platform to help a lot of girls with confidence and self-love, and just honestly chasing our dreams is kind of what I push for. Yeah, it's been a great ride. Moved to LA about 2.5 years ago, like during the pandemic, kind of a hard time.
Definitely.
Just with big goals and dreams, and like was able to make some stuff happen. So living out there, and it's been great so far and super rewarding. Like you said, I did Sports Illustrated, which was really fun. Probably my biggest accomplishment to date. But just along the ride, just like learned a ton of life lessons and able to now share that with other people.
I love it.
Yeah.
So proud of you.
Sure, you've met some amazing people along the way, been to some crazy events, and
Yeah.
been able to network and meet some amazing people.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's been super fun.
Headed to New York Fashion Week, and what is it, 2 weeks?
Yeah, a few weeks. We'll go to Fashion Week. I had Swim Week in Miami, which is always a fun time last month in July, but kind of want to broaden my horizons and do more fashion. So we'll go there and like network and meet people and go to shows, and it'll be fun.
Love it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for joining us. We're super excited to have you.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, that's great.
Give us a little bit of tea. So obviously, I know your current roommate now. She's a doll. I adore her. She's amazing. And like you said, it took forever to get there. So
Yeah.
let's not give the listeners, I always say, warm them up.
Yeah,
Don't
not
just
like the
shoot
best,
off.
craziest story you've ever experienced with a roommate first.
Maybe not best, but worst.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like the juiciest story doesn't
Right.
always come first. Like
Right.
something early on that might have been like a red
A
flag.
precursor. Yeah.
Yeah, something red flag, something stood out, something was awkward
Yeah.
or uncomfortable, and then lead into like the craziest story you've ever experienced with a roommate.
So how did it start?
I think it started, let's see, Washington State was solid. No complaints there, really.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no complaints.
Actually, one thing I remember you saying about the Washington State experience transitioning into Hawaii, to all those who are in college out there, you and your girlfriend sat back one day and were like, of all the places we can go to college,
Yeah.
what are we doing here in Eastern Washington?
Yeah.
Nothing
It was
against
freezing.
the Cougs, like
Go
more power to
Cougs,
yeah,
yeah.
more power to you guys. However, at one point, your girls were always like,
It was
let's just go to
freezing, wasn't it?
Hawaii.
Yeah, wasn't
Yeah.
it like 2 degrees? And you were like,
It was like snowing, freezing, and we were like, so why are we here? Like, why are we not on a beach in Hawaii? So we started like YouTubing videos, like University of Hawaii students, parties, and then like called mom and dad and like made a whole presentation and was like, we're going to Hawaii.
PowerPoint that shit.
And all four of
PowerPoint
you
that
moved?
shit. All three of us. Yeah, it was three of us.
Awesome.
Yeah, super tight.
So did
Very
you move
cool.
together and live together in Hawaii?
We did at first.
Oh.
Yeah. We
Okay,
did.
so the first story's on the horizon.
First.
No shade, no tea. Not gonna name drop. Yeah, I had a few girls that I were like super tight with, and I would say what's hard, it's hard to live with anyone, but like specifically because everyone does different things. Like some girl maybe has a boyfriend and then they're doing long distance. So then you're kind of dragged into this. And like maybe you're on like your single hot girl vibes and like you're trying to go out and have fun. Like it just like the vibe sometimes throws it off. And then you live with 3 and then 2 get closer, one's left out. 2 are
Always.
close, the other
Yep.
one's left out. I'm like, no matter if you're friends or not, it's just like hard to all live together because everyone's so different.
Wait, really quickly, Steven, are threes really difficult for men?
Kind of. I think there's definitely, it gets clicky.
Mm-hmm.
You're actually reminding me a lot of what my mom said as a kid. And she said it's always good to hang out in pairs. So 2, 4, 6, right? Because that way there's not
There's
one
less
man
out.
one man out.
Left
That-
out.
And we're
Yeah.
talking like literally 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade.
But,
In
like,
terms of
as
wanting
a-
to hang out with friends, she would always be like, no, make sure it's even numbers. And
But
now,
like as a guy.
I mean, yes,
'Cause
somewhat,
it's
but
petty. It gets petty with 3 women. The almost
But guys, I
always.
feel like aren't like that as much.
not as much. I mean, my buddies were in town for my birthday and it's just, like a tripod.
No, I know.
But-
Like a tripod.
Not a tripod.
But I mean, without
Not the
without the one leg,
tripod.
it wouldn't be the same. But if our 4th buddy or 5th buddy or 6th buddy was there,
Yeah.
it would maybe change the dynamic because
No, but
2
like
guys.
growing up. Hold on, we're getting a, not when they come visit. Growing up, if you had 3 buddies that you all hung out with, did one feel like left out, or were you always trying to accommodate one over the other, or did 2?
Not really. The only time I think that they actually felt left out is if we were targeting them. Guys can be a little bit
Yeah,
ruthless.
that's true. Guys are like bullies to each other.
They're a
in
little bit
way.
ruthless,
Yeah.
whether it's, I don't know, weight or whether it's, a girl, the situation you're dealing with and how they might
Yeah.
have messed something up or someone gets too drunk. There are those situations where you
Yeah.
can definitely feel like an outlier if you're the fool
Right.
in whatever situation. But I don't think they're as, how do I say this?
Wait, but girls are so petty. No,
Yeah,
finish
petty.
it.
Petty's the best way of putting it. It's different. It's more like in a guy group, you feel targeted. In a girl group, it's more petty.
Passive
Yeah.
aggressive.
Passive
so what
aggressive,
you're saying
yeah.
is I should have been a guy.
No, literally, we're to the point where like you go to a restaurant with 3 girls, and if it's like 2 that are sharing the plate and didn't offer to share with the third, I'm like pissed. Like I felt left out. Like as little as
Oh,
like
actually,
ordering a
you
meal
do.
at a restaurant. I'm like,
Okay.
that's so rude.
Okay, yeah, you do.
Do you know what I mean though? Like girls
our
are way
buddies
more
would reach over. The
dramatic.
3rd person would reach over and just take whatever they wanted.
Yeah, guys don't give a shit.
No.
Like I
No.
wish I was a dude at times.
I know,
Like,
so much easier.
but then it's like, oh
sometimes.
well, you can borrow my clothes, and then the third's like, well, can I? It's like there's always one person that feels
Yeah.
left out.
100%.
Literally.
So you move in with 3.
Yeah, and so like that was definitely tough, and like I said, there was just like different dynamics that were involved there, and yeah, it wasn't bad or messy, so that there's like no drama there. It just like we realized like we weren't compatible to live together, and then there was
What
some
made you realize that?
like one had a long distance relationship and like didn't also like Hawaii, so like she was moving back to where she came from, and I'm trying to be careful how I word things. And then me and the other girl kind of had a falling out. I wasn't like a biggest fan of like her boyfriend, and like she wasn't the biggest fan of my boyfriend.
Oh,
And then
didn't something happen with the trash can? Like the
that's the different roommate.
Oh,
we're not there
getting
yet.
There.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
warming up.
So that's the first story. So there was not like no really tea there. We just kind of realized like we're not meant to live together, and nor are we meant to be really even good friends. I think when you move in with someone, you kind of really see all sides of them.
Oh yeah.
It was just not a good fit. But that was great experience. After that, I went to I finally found my bestie Julia, love her. She was a great roommate, but we always had a 3-bedroom because 3 bedrooms are usually cheaper than 2 at times.
That's
like
a good heads up for
Yeah.
all the renters out there.
Yeah.
you know. So
Good
whenever
call.
in college, we always wanted to find a 3rd room because you get more room, you get more bathrooms. Sometimes the rooms are bigger, and you're paying less because you're dividing it by
By
3.
Yeah.
So we were always trying to find a 3rd roommate, which was really hard. And we would go on like Facebook, or like we would try to go on like the group things and like just try to find anywhere we could. And it's like you have to literally like speed date, but it's like you can't really get to know someone that well through like Facebook, I feel like, when you're just like chatting with them.
Oh God.
So every time it's been like, no one's going to go on there and be like, I'm messy, or like, I like to drink massive amounts of alcohol and will be and like no one tells you this. So
I'm a lightweight.
Yeah.
no, literally. So that was hard because the other girl that we lived with, it took us some time to find a good one, but we had one that just definitely was going through some stuff. Like, I just don't think she was like mentally all there. I think she was like struggling with depression. She, was drinking way too much to the point where it wasn't like necessarily like normal in a way. Like we
what
would
what kind of alcohol?
like, I don't even know what it was, but like we would just find her like belligerent, but it wasn't like we were out at like a bar or like going out together. And like that made me really sad because I could tell she was going through stuff. And then that really affects me, just like with drugs and alcohol in general, with like the way we were raised and having like addiction in my family. It's like hard for me to see someone in that state when like it's not, I guess, like an appropriate like party vibe together. So I think like seeing her like struggle like that really like weighed down the vibe of like me and my other girl that I was like tight with, Julia, I can say her name. And so that kind of threw it off. And then so that wasn't a good vibe, and like it was just like always an argument of like helping with cleaning dishes and like they're not cleaning or they're just being like messy and like not picking up after themselves, and now I'm finding you like passed out of the bathroom like drunk like at night, and I'm just
almost like
yeah.
Somewhat depressed, somewhat of a degenerate, and just not pulling
an
their weight.
addiction and just not pulling the weight, and like definitely going through stuff which like I said makes me sad and has a soft spot.
And there's energy behind that. Like the energy that they portray and give off is contagious with others.
Well, and then like your living space is like your safe space. Like if you can't feel comfortable in the place that you live, like forget it. Like, and that for me is what I realized with roommates, that like you want to just feel like comfortable and safe. Like if you don't feel safe, if you feel on eggshells, if you don't feel like comfortable, you will never have a good living experience, and like you'll never want to be home, and no one wants to live like that.
Yeah.
So I had that situation. And then we had a different girl come in who like was fine, but also not like a good vibe. Like we were looking for like a third girl to like go out with us and like have fun and go to class and ride our mopeds together and go to the beach with us. She just wasn't doing that. She like got married really early with this guy who we had never met, and then like would like come home and like cry to us about like their relationship, but then they got like married randomly, and then like it was just like a third off, like what's going on here. So it took us a while to find a good one, and then it got pretty bad when we moved into our second place, which I think was my senior year in Hawaii still. This girl to this day stalks my page all the time. So she might, hi sis, if you're listening, no tea, no shade, but actually tea. She was just, I don't know what it was. Like she didn't want to help with anything. She was also a little bit younger than us, but yeah, this last one was just like, not it. Like she just would not carry her weight like at all. I'd come and like her bathroom was just disgusting. Like everywhere in the sink, it's almost embarrassing when it's like a bathroom that I'm like having people come in, hey guys, use the bathroom in the hallway, and it's like disgusting. Like literally would not clean the sink at all, like covered in like I don't even know what, like dirt and grimy makeup everywhere, and like her clothes were all over the ground, and then she would leave like mass amounts of like laundry on the couch for a long time, and it's like, pick up your clothes. At least put your clothes all over your bed, in your room.
That's what I was gonna say. Is common space is way different than your own private closed off area.
You know, like just put it in your room and keep your mess in your room. But when you bring it to the family room, like when we're trying to eat dinner, like no. And then it was always like, roommates can be so stingy with like, oh, like you owe me 55 cents for this paper towel roll. I'm like, bro, you get paper towels this time, I get it the second time, and if you want to be nitpicky, we'll literally put everything on one card and I'll just like Venmo request at the end of the month or something like that. Like, let's keep it clean. But the whole like, oh, like you owe me, like I went to Walgreens today and got this, you owe me, like, I'm like, bro, if you're gonna penny pinch me, like I don't even want it. That also brings like such a weird dynamic to roommates, is like the financial part of it, of like, well, I paid for this, and then it's like, are we really going to be tit for tat? Because if so, then we'll go down to the fucking set, and then it's just going to be real awkward. And now we're not friends because now it's like, you know.
Oh, yeah. So and I feel like the younger you are, the more that happens. Like the less established you are, the older we've gotten with roommates, like that happens less. When we were younger, it was like, it's 402, not 4. It's 402. Like, I'm talking
and
2 fucking cents.
Right.
Part of that, it comes down, I mean, this is assumption, but part of it comes down to they think that's the more mature route to go. Like,
and
it's official. It's official, and we're doing it the right way, and it's precise. And really, like you said, it's just tedious.
And $50 when you're 19, 20, 21, 22 is a lot different than when you're 28.
Right. And like at that point, she wasn't working. She was an athlete. We're like, me and my friend Julia were working at a restaurant. So we were making like more money and like whatever. But yeah, I mean, she was penny pinching us. It was just like, it always felt like it was just me and Julia rocking, and always this third person who was just like, ugh. Like,
maybe you guys were the problem.
No, F off. Julia, if you're listening, I love you. No, that was not the case. She just was not a good coexisting roommate.
Yeah.
And then it would just get like petty over nothing. Like it'd be like, hey, another thing people don't talk about. No one wants to be someone's mom or dad. Like, especially when we're younger like this, like the older you get, the more like you have like the balls to be like, hey, I actually took out the trash this time. Let's like switch off. When you're younger, like you don't really want to like boss people or around. It's passive aggressive. Who am I to tell you as a grown 21-year-old, do this? Like, you know, like we're not like living with our parents anymore. So it's super hard to set up like an organized, like I do this chore, you do that. I do it this week, you do it like that. I'm always organized and like always wanted to have like something on like the refrigerator where like we have different days where we take out the trash, or like I kind of wanted to do that. But then I also thought maybe that was like micromanaging, or like a little bit like, okay, relax. So it's really hard to navigate how to give these like duties and chores to roommates coexist together in a living space that you share. So like, yeah, I'm more of a clean roommate. Like, I'm not a perfect roommate at all, and I know that. I'm not going to claim I am, but I'm definitely super clean. So every time I lived with someone, I've always felt like I have a clean standard that, like, they can't reach my expectation with that, which is fine. I'll just do more of the cleaning. But then it comes to the point where, like, bitch, you know I'm going to clean it. So now you just leave shit around because you know I'm going to do it, because I can't stand to live in filth.
Right. So, okay, so you're giving us, like, the crumbs. So something's happened over the course of these last 5 years.
Well, I mean, yeah, so this girl was just like, for example, I was like, hey, like, can you take out the trash? Like, we've been really taking out a lot. And if you can just help out more. And she's like, I mean, I like barely even put trash in it. I'm like, it's a trash can, bro. Like, we all use the trash can.
This is the infamous trash can.
Yeah. And she's just like, oh, well, like, I don't put trash in that. So like, why should I take out the trash when like majority of that trash in there is not mine?
That's petty.
I'm like, you live in the same place, in the same kitchen, just because maybe you eat out more. Like, you're still throwing away trash wrappers, your Gatorade bottles, like you're going to and from practice with snacks. Like, bitch, you use the trash can. That was just like out of pocket for me. And that's when I was like, all right, so we have like this petty girl on our case. Like, now it's just not going to be pleasant. Every day was walking on eggshells. And then it like at one point like got like into an altercation. Like, I've never gotten to like a yelling argument ever with like a lot of people, especially a roommate. I've always been pretty chill. And I forget how it started, but I think it was like in a text thread. And I was just like, hey, like if you can help with this, or like, hey, if you can whatever. And she was like, honestly, like, what'd she say? She was like threatening to fight me. Like, she was like,
oh, that's right.
She was like, honestly, like, come, catch me outside. And I was like, what? And she's like, honestly, if you want to talk about this, like, I'll be home in 5 minutes. Like, bet, like, literally bet, like, come see me. I was like, no.
Bet.
Over the trash can.
No, over just like duties, over just like
Just
doing
tasks
stuff
around
and
the
tasks
house.
around the house, and like, hey, like saw your clothes are on, like whatever. And she's like, honestly, like, nah, like I'm good. Like, you can say this to my face. Like, funny how you can't say it to my face. Like, catch me outside. And I was like, catch me outside? Like, I can't. What are you, Bad Baby from Dr. Phil? Like,
yeah, and this was pre-Bad Baby days.
no, it was like at the same time. So I was like, this is comical. It was like,
that's great.
that's even more ironic. It was at the same time she dropped it. And so I was just like, oh, so now you're going to fight me. And I remember calling dad and like, you know me, I can't fight for shit. Like, I can't deny, like, I'm strong, but I'd be really scared to fight someone. So I was like, Dad, I really think like she's going to try to fight me.
Can you fly to Hawaii?
No, I was like, please help me. And so like when I got home, we like literally got there and I was like, well, this should be interesting. And like, of course, all fucking talk, no action. Like, she like saw me and like, and like flipped her hair and like skirted off on her moped to go to like a teammate's. And I was like, you didn't even do anything. Like, I wasn't going to fight you, but like you talk such a big talk. And it's like, it got to a point where it was like that, where it was like altercation, saying, catch me outside, like come fight me. And I was like, bro, over just fucking cleaning your room, like cleaning the living room and picking up after yourself. Like, give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
And she like blocked me like off all social media. Like, her family, like, I think used to follow me and like love what I was like doing back in the day, and then like all unfollowed me. Like, she blocked me, and it got like so petty over
so how
like
did
nothing.
She end up moving out?
At that point, it was like towards the end of our lease, and we were like, absolutely never again. And I was like, I probably will never speak to this girl again, and we literally haven't. And I still see her stalking my stories to this day.
Oh, and she's the one that's stalking your stories to this day.
Yeah,
because she wants to catch you outside. She wants
to literally be outside of the club and pull up on me.
Yeah,
I still think she's in Hawaii. I don't really know what she's doing, but there's been like some shitty roommates. And then I went to LA, and thank God it's been a lot better. And maybe it's because of the experience. Like, you start to learn how to deal with all these different personalities, and also like what you want to tolerate and what you don't. And now I live with this great girl, Nikki, who's a Greek girl that like we've known since we were really young, family friend.
Great.
But it's just hard living with people.
Did you girls go to camp with her?
She went 1 year actually.
Did she?
Yeah, but she's just like grew up with like all like the Greek families with us, like our.
She's just like she's always traveling. She's clean. Like, she's a great roommate. She's a great girl in general.
Yeah, and you're at a point now where like you can communicate. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I feel like I've been cleaning more. Like, hey, can you help with this? And like, she's like, yeah. Or like vice versa. If she's like, hey, like I get a lot of boxes sent to me. Sometimes I don't take the boxes out, like the recycling. She's like, hey, like, can you like take out the boxes more? I'm like, yeah, for sure. Like, we just have that open communication. Whereas like, if you are going to be petty and cannot have that communication and now you want to fight me over it, like this will never work. Like, I'll never be at peace living at home,
Yeah.
you know?
100%. So let's.
Well, wait, so have you guys had anyone like literally fight over like a simple task of like, can you take out the trash or wash the dishes? Like, what has been the biggest like freak out for you guys? Has someone
Well, it's
tried?
usually me freaking out.
Stealing. I think the biggest freakouts we've ever had is people stealing from either us or another roommate.
Yeah.
We've had it at
Really?
two separate houses, two of which you know two of them.
Yep.
Yeah. With that in mind, we
I don't want to.
yeah, we had something that we valued in the garage, and when they took off, it was in the middle of the day when we were at work.
No.
And
It was probably like $10,000 worth of stuff. We'll just say, put it like that.
yeah.
They took like $10,000.
And they were moving out?
No, they just stole it.
No, they moved out randomly without announcement in the middle of the
without a
day,
notice
and
or
they just happened to take
anything.
this with them. The place that they brought it to, the guy called us and was like, "Hey, he knew Alexis. Hey, I don't know why they brought this over here, but I don't want anything to fucking do with it."
It's like one of our friends' dads. So like he called and was like, "What is this shit? Like, get all this crap out of my house!" And like it was just a bunch of stuff, and it was literally $10,000 worth of stuff. And they just like because they wanted to break their lease, I think, and we were holding them accountable to like finish paying. I can't even remember. It's such stupid shit, but I don't know if we've had anybody.
The lease was coming to an end, and there was going to be, the down payment to be able to get out. You don't get your deposit back oftentimes. So that
I
didn't
don't
go
even
well, and then
know
they
if it was
scooted
a-
out when we were all at work. Other than that, one
I'm
of
just
your
trying to think.
girlfriends took off, and didn't she take jewelry or something from you, or money out of the drawer?
money.
Um,
I'm just trying to think. No, but like
Not
like, a
fighting-wise.
fight over.
Like
Like-
over just simple tasks? Or did you guys, how did you like navigate that? Did you guys have chore lists? Were you organized with it, or was it kind of free for all?
So in our first place, it was an absolute shit show free for all. Like it was just a disaster of a place. It was so bad. I mean, shit show.
the thing that I'll elaborate on that is, if the situation you had mentioned before, if your former roommate knew that you're going to do it because you can't stand to live in that sort of environment, then there's a dependency that they create for you to do it, and there's an enabling that you create by doing
By
it for
doing
them.
it for 'em.
So in certain environments, like our first roommate situation, there was
We would clean up
Yeah.
and they would go, "Oh, well, screw it." Especially the one
Right.
in particular because she's going to do it. He's going to do
Right.
it.
They know you're going to do it.
So she would
We're
like,
talking
I mean, we would talk smoke cigarettes inside.
cigarettes inside on the
Ew.
porch.
Like we're talking.
We also had a dog.
menthols.
Yeah, we also had a dog at the time. So
mean, his name
they
is
thought
Zeus.
because, yeah, he's a good boy. We also, because the dog, there's a little bit of shedding, and
Right.
because the most of the gunk that's on the carpet comes from the dog, we should be the ones most responsible for being able to do the vacuuming.
So like we would vacuum and we would take care of it and stuff, but like they wouldn't touch it. Like it was stuff like that. Like they just like would not touch anything. So one thing that I've always found with roommates is it's like super petty around like, no, that's your dish. No, that's your dog.
Your
that's
fork.
Your fork.
Yeah.
That's your cup. That's your. It
Yeah.
it's always like, it gets really difficult to live in that environment when it's like you're saying, like
Literally
super
tit for
nit-
tat.
Tit for tat.
Mhm.
Well, I took out the trash can last. I'm like, okay, like, but there's been pizza boxes sitting here for like in our first place, like there would be pizza boxes, and because one of our
Ew.
girlfriends worked at Pete's Coffee, which is similar to for those that are listening to like a Starbucks, and she would get all the closing food,
Oh, right. Yeah.
all
the
the cookies, cakes, everything,
Pastries, all that,
Pastries,
yeah.
exactly, yeah.
boxes of this shit,
Tons of it.
tons of it, and we would sit up and
Thank
light
God I
up
had
and
metabolism
play
back
play freaking Mario Kart.
Oh my God.
And just like total like just chill, and like no joke, it would be like boxes and boxes of pizzas, Domino's, cookies, cakes.
Stop.
I mean, for weeks, and like nobody would touch it. So it's like, who's responsible for that, right? So
Yeah.
then one of us are like the cleaner one, so like we'll take it out. Or another girl that we did live with at the time who had moved in for the other girl who had moved out would clean
She
it
was
up.
pretty cool
but
about it,
we
yeah.
had one roommate who we love her to death because of who she is, but like just
the way that the room looked was the
Didn't
exact
care.
way as her car. I mean, I think you can tell with people
Right.
in the way that they care for certain
Keep
things.
their cars.
Yes.
Yeah, the way that they
Yeah.
perform in one area of their life is going to be reciprocated in other areas of their life.
Yeah.
Whether it be fitness, whether it be
Yeah.
family, whether it be religion, whether it be work. That's how they show up everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, as messy as she was in the apartment, her car was the exact same way.
It was
Right.
a disaster. So
Yeah,
no,
and to the point you mentioned earlier, the exact question is, have there been like fist fights? I would think that
don't
most
think
of the
so.
times men would deal with aggression through physical altercations.
Mm-hmm.
Women tend to do it with like words and maybe being
Passive-aggressive.
vindictive or starting rumors or
Right.
creating drama. There's different ways of being aggressive and fighting over certain things.
Totally.
Yeah,
I don't think we've ever gotten in a fist fight. I don't think we've ever been a part of
I
a
don't remember a
roommate
fist fight.
scenario.
Or
Not
someone
in a-
like
not in a
came at
living
you.
room.
No one came at you.
There's
No,
been
one
times-
time though, I did kick in Liz's window.
that's because you got locked out.
Did you get locked out or you were mad?
Oh, I was hammered, and I just wanted to get inside.
Oh, okay.
She kicked a hole in the window.
I
That's
just
like sounds
kicked
like a
through the
great
window.
idea. So you were the best roommate ever. It sounds like.
So it sounds like I was the
Sounds
problem.
like you were the problem.
Still are.
There's definitely
Still
some-
are.
I was gonna say, I think outside of just you and I being the ones to fight, no, everybody else was just totally casual.
Yeah,
and kosher.
literally.
Live with your husband.
No.
So moving forward, what characteristics now are most important to you when looking for a roommate?
I would definitely try to like scope that person out like thoroughly. Like I would do like extensive research and like, Chillo has like a great review research. Like you can figure out more about a roommate. Back then when we were looking for roommates, we didn't have that accessible. So I would definitely do more research. I would ask around their friends. I would see what they do in their fun time. Like, are you a quiet girl? Do you actually go to bed early? Do you go to bed late? Like I actually need to know because like if your lifestyle does not align, like genuinely speaking, I would ask the hard, uncomfortable questions. Like, and I would probably meet them at like a coffee shop and then like maybe go to like the beach or like somewhere close by and like let's like make like kind of like a date out of it almost in a way
Mm-hmm.
Get
to
to
like
know you.
really scope out the person. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a phone call thing and it's not a Facebook Messenger thing and it's not a Craigslist thing. Like, you got to know the fucking person you're living with.
Yeah.
And I would ask the very uncomfortable questions like, oh, genuinely sweet. Like, do you smoke weed? Like, it's totally fine if you do. I just want to know. Boom. Because if that's a red flag for you and like you never do it, great. And if you always do it, then you need someone that does. Like, you just kind of need to think and like think outside the box and ask like the more uncomfortable questions to see
Like
if
you
it's
said,
compatible.
Also, like, are you a night owl or are you an early bird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so
Do you
many.
Because if
have
you go to bed
pets? Do
early
you not? Yeah.
and I party and I
Yeah,
come home late, like this will never work. Like,
Could you imagine if you ended up, let's just say at 19, and one of your roommates, without you knowing, was an absolute lover of snakes?
No.
Oh,
all of a
get me out
sudden-
this
no.
hellhole.
All of a sudden, one
Get me out of
Friday,
this demonic hellhole.
Me
one
too.
Friday they show up and they got this cage because they went to
Oh,
Petco
yeah, like my college, like one of
And
the
they got a
girls in
snake.
college. Yeah.
No.
or a tarantula. I'm nothing wrong with those animals. Some people cannot live in that sort of environment.
No, absolutely not. What if it gets out like it did in college?
No, disgusting.
So gross.
Right.
So
So you're
I,
right. That's a good head up. Is get to know them.
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. And-
Thoroughly.
And Ella brought up a great point, and it leads us to talk about our sponsors, Chillo.
Yep.
Chillo is the roommate app to help you find a roommate you don't want to kill, and obviously find somebody that is compatible for you to live with. So, and obviously a place to live as well. So, if you're
Mhm.
looking for somebody, what we love about Chillo is it talks about: are you a foodie, nature lover? Pets.
Right.
Do you want them? Do you not? Do you stay up late? Do you go to bed early?
Right.
And what we both loved about Chillo, I think the most, and what we wish we had this when we were growing up, is the endorsement side. So your former roommates, you can ask for endorsements so that they can share like, hey, like in a LinkedIn fashion almost, like, hey, this person, like Nikki, for instance, your current roommate, right? Like you would endorse her for being clean.
Yeah, if Nikki's
Right.
going to move to New York in 2 years,
Yeah.
when she gets there, she might not know anybody.
Right.
But you can give her the endorsement, and then the next roommate that she lives with can
Has that
see what
confidence.
Nikki's former roommate Ella has to say about her.
Right.
Right.
That experience.
Yeah, so the
Mhm.
endorsement side of it is so cool, and it's really that credibility. It's not really being forced to focus on the Craigslist or message some random person that has a random XYZ what is it? Exclamation point at Craigslist, and you're like, who am I even talking to?
No, literally
right?
a
Like,
scammer.
Oh, the hide
it's
your
like,
email.
yeah, that they hide
Oh,
your email.
yeah.
It's like you can't even see if this person is who they say they are,
No.
let alone like what a previous roommate said.
Like it's 2022.
It's like, yeah, it's time
It's time
to.
for that.
It is time to
Speaking
evolve.
of nothing bad about Craigslist, one piece of information that I found scary is every day on the housing department alone in Craigslist, there's 75,000 posts a day in the housing division, right, of
Wow.
Craigslist.
Mm-hmm.
25% of them are fake. Completely
yeah.
fraud.
are complete fraudulent. And that's something that we looked up a while ago. I wouldn't be surprised if that's even higher today.
Yeah.
And that 75,000 is a lot lower, and that the scams are even higher.
Oh, especially nowadays, like it's sketchy out there.
It's stay well, peeps.
Stay well, peeps. Stay out the streets.
Yeah, and so we love Chillo. We love partnering with them because we really believe in it, and we know that it's helping individuals find credible roommates and places to live.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. We love it.
Thank you.
Love that.
Go check out Chillo if you're looking for a roommate or a place to live. Okay, so today on Roommate Confessions, we have a roommate horror story from James Netzis? Why would you say that? Nets.
Nets, yeah.
On
Needs.
on TikTok that we are going to share.
To graduate, I had committed to a school in downtown New York City. You guys aren't ready. And I got a random message from this guy saying that he was looking for a roommate. I gathered as much as I could. How much fucking research can you do on someone? At the time, if you went to college, you know, like, you stalk their Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever they have.
Just talking
and
about
then
this.
try and get their Snapchat to make sure that they're real, whatever. So he seemed normal, and I agreed to it. There really weren't any red flags. And I get there. I'm so excited. I have all my stuff. I'm in the elevator. We go up. I only know my room number. I don't really know if, like, what the room assignments were and how it worked. And I open the door. I'm the first one to get there. And I'm just so excited. And there are 4 beds. They assigned me to a room with 3 other males.
What?
I was actually so annoyed that when I got there, since I'm extremely dramatic, I literally put in my headphones and was unpacking to... Yeah, I keep telling myself in my head, new beginnings, stay positive, like, this doesn't really mean anything. I wanted to grab the bleach and drink it, but I decided maybe I shouldn't do that. So I wanted to give it a chance. And, like, to be honest, when I roomed with them, like, I liked... Well, I meet the 3 roommates and they show up. They have like a reasonable amount of stuff. They have everything that they need. And my side of the dorm.
Shows photo.
Oh.
Looks really nice.
We're a couple
clean.
weeks into school and it's a Friday night. One of my roommates decided to go home. The other one was like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with a group of friends, a different group of friends. And then the other one was like, I'm going to go to a bar. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll stay home. I'm going to like do my work, take the night in. So I'm sitting at my desk. I'm peacefully doing my math homework. And I hear banging on the door. It was 2 men in suits. They ask me my name. Then they confirm everyone else's name that lives in the room. Yeah, it was the FBI. Like for part 2. So,
What?
Oh my God.
Like
So
they were there to get one of the roommates.
they were there to get one of the roommates. Do we want to hear part 2? For sure. Like the tea is hot. Oh my God.
Wait, that's wild.
You have it?
You have to like scroll on his page. Probably.
I told them not to do this, but they don't listen.
Some of his captions were pretty funny.
Come on.
Yeah, so the FBI literally barges in.
Okay, so hold on, ready?
And you have to say what, like, when there's long pauses, what we're looking at.
Okay. And they stream this on the actual visual one.
Right now it's... Yeah, so the FBI literally barges in, like tells me to go stand in the corner. Literally one of the agents told me to stand in a corner.
What?
How about you stand in a fucking corner? I knew that this had nothing to do with me. I had nothing to hide. Like, but the FBI decided to literally come in and rip apart our room. When I tell you rip apart our room,
He's in a dorm
I literally mean...
as he fabricates ripping apart a bedroom.
Turns the laundry upside down.
He's just... Oh,
Sitting there clueless, I have no clue what's going on. Like, I genuinely don't know why they're there. They're looking for something specific. And I knew they were because I could just tell from, like, their language. I mean, my whole room was literally upside down.
Jesus.
Like, it was completely destroyed, and they just left it that way. But my school security, standing there doing nothing, I asked them, I was like, hi, you want to tell me what's going on? And they said that they were looking for drug trafficking activity.
Oh, shit.
Looking for evidence of drug trafficking sourced from my room.
Jesus.
Did you guys see in the first video what my side of the room looked like? So me, drug trafficking.
Like lights. Like almost like a 13-year-old
I
girl's
literally
room.
looked at him and I was like, unfortunately, I have no idea what you're talking about. So you're going to have to turn around and go. And they said, whoa, 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 whoa. We don't think it's you. We have our suspicion. And that's why we're searching the room. So, okay, before you go and fucking tear up my homework, let me call someone first. So I call one of my roommates, and I say, hi, what's going on? Why is the FBI here? He has no clue. He goes, you can look through all my stuff. I give you permission. I have nothing to hide as well.
What?
Rip it up. Okay, we do. We find nothing. The other one, this kid's a fucking angel. He has no dirt on his hands. It wouldn't be him at all. And then the third one.
The good old third.
We pull out a treasure chest from under his bed.
No.
It was cocaine, cartridges, weed, and other illegal substances wrapped in stacks of money.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That was
That's
the end.
gnarly.
What? Oh my God.
That's
That
almost
sounds
up there with the Skittles story.
I know. Oh my God.
Whoa.
Wow. That I couldn't even
Like,
imagine
what
being
would
in
you
that
even
situation.
Because you're in college at that point. So go back to college. Go back to Washington or Hawaii. No, go back to Washington because that's the only time you ever lived in a dorm, right?
No, I lived in a dorm in Hawaii too.
Oh, that's right. I visited you. Hello. And the FBI busts down the door. And
I'm
you
like,
have
"Don't
to
look at me."
call through all. Yeah, but you of all people too would be fucking.
Oh, I'd be like crying probably.
hysterical.
Yeah. That's like really scary because then it's also like you almost feel like invaded in your personal space.
Big time.
No sense of privacy.
Or
Now
guilty by association. Like what I'd
Yeah.
be thinking, like, are these FBI agents going to think that I'm part of this?
well, not only that, like you're scared that you're gonna get in trouble, but now like, oh, so I don't even know who my roommate who I'm living with is. Like I don't even know who you are. That's even scarier.
Very uncomfortable.
Like you live with this person next to them and you're sharing a room and then they get raided by the FBI. I'd be like, who the fuck are you?
Right.
I think that's pretty high up there in worst roommate stories we've heard.
That's so scary. I'd be freaking out. I'd be like, I need to move out immediately.
I would be terrified. Like,
Yeah,
I think that's
what?
even worse than Skittles. There was a previous gentleman on here that lived next to a drug king pimp in Washington who, like, ran him out, essentially.
Threatened him with a baseball
Threatened
bat.
him with a baseball
Came
bat.
in through the doorway,
No.
smashed the doorway
Yeah.
frame.
His neighbor.
He ran out the back sliding door,
No.
and he
Looking
was
for his
smashing his
roommate.
TV on the way, just coming through the apartment.
Looking for his roommate.
Looking
No.
for his roommate, who took off
Yes.
with one of the sluts,
With one of the hoes.
with one of the hoes.
Not the hose.
Yeah.
Not the hose. Bring her
Oh,
back.
and he
Bring
was like,
that hoe
bring
back.
her back.
Literally,
That's
yeah.
so scary.
Where's your roommate? He took off
And-
with so and so.
Chase him through the house, and like he got like ran out of there. But
That's up there.
and then ended up living. His second roommate ended up being a murderer. Literally.
Okay,
Yeah,
great. So
literally.
that takes the cake.
That
The
takes a
drawing that he found, that he saw on the TV as like missing person. We need to find this man.
Because
was
he stole
exact
two
replica
child-
drawing of what his roommate looked like. After moving out of the place where Skittles, the drug lord, was chasing after him.
He moved in like on an
How
accidental
does this man find them?
Craigslist. He ended up moving in, and then one of the other guys was a colleague's friend.
Jesus.
He was sitting there eating
Crazy.
pizza, and a breaking news story showed up on the
It's
TV
like, oh, that's my
screen,
roommate.
and it was like a mom and a dad hacked up, and the children are missing, and they said this is what the man looks like, and it was his roommate.
Okay.
He left
Crazy.
his clothes and everything. He never went back.
He's from
Roommate.
Boise,
That's scary.
went to Washington, the Seattle area, and was eating pizza dropped the pizza when he saw this guy's drawing on the TV
Oh
And
yeah.
drove-
and
to
got in his
Boise.
car and went right back home.
Left everything. Left.
Didn't say a word to his parents or anything. He's just like, I'm back. I'm not living up there no more. No way.
Nope. He left his clothes. He left everything. He never went back to the apartment again. He fucking panicked.
Whoa. Because
And then-
if he was seen with him, maybe
yeah.
too.
Or just he's like living with a murderer.
Right.
Crazy.
And so crazy shit. So
But
you've
that's
got,
a bit
like-
out there too, like FBI, dorm room.
I mean, that's like up there
Drug
though.
trafficking.
Yeah.
Well, then the whole
money
thing
wrapped.
with three beds, like he didn't know that he was having more roommates than one.
Yeah, he thought he was just having one, and then they paired him in a 4-bed.
4-bedroom.
Like that would be awful in and of itself. That could have ended right there, and
I would have been like, I'm out.
like, could you imagine? Like, you think you're getting like this manual paired up by a
That would
school
be-
administrative person that doesn't give a shit, so they're manually pairing you with like
That'd be
these two
such an
people say
adjustment,
they
yeah.
stay up late, so
Right.
they're living
Right.
together now.
And then you have like quadruple the amount of roommates.
the quadruple, and then one of them
I mean,
ends
people-
up being raided by the FBI.
Yeah, people are pretty adaptable, but when you're thrown a curveball like that, it would take a lot of adjustment to think you're gonna have one roommate and then have 3.
Yeah.
That alone,
All in the same room, I'm out.
Oh my god, because dorms are like you're in the same room.
You're
as
literally
big as this
sleeping on
room.
top of each other at
Literally.
that point.
It's as big as this
it's
room.
as
Yeah.
big as this room. Like
Yeah.
literally, the beds are. You're like
No, sign me. And then they get raided and you're like, what the fuck?
the drugs are wrapped in money. Like I just can't.
That's
I
crazy.
That's wild.
So, like, of all of the stories, I mean, obviously, you've Pike made it out pretty scotch free, but you had some really good feedback on like what to avoid, what to look for, and
Yeah.
quite frankly, I mean, there were some stories in there for sure. You had some experiences, but this is like whole new level. I don't know. Like, would you rather deal with Skittles as the neighbor because the roommate, right, that ran off with the hoe? So you
Mhm.
get put in the position of the middle
Our,
of it.
our situation where the roommates steal from you.
Mm-hmm.
Or you end up looking on the screen and there's your roommate ends up being a murderer.
I have to choose one of the 3.
Or your
Or-
situation.
Oh no! Or the one we just heard, you get raided by the FBI.
But you got to have her own situation in there. Would you rather have what you've experienced or what anybody else?
Well, no shit, she would rather experience
I'd
that.
rather have mine and catch me outside every day. Fuck.
Yeah.
I'm not getting no FBI or Skittles. I'll
But
fight.
okay, so of all the ones outside of your scenario,
What would I rather have?
Mhm.
Is there a none of the above option?
no, there is not a none of the above option.
Oh Lord! All right, multiple choice. Let's bring it back. I would have to go with. I would say not the Skittles because I would not be able. Like that's like dangerous. Like if
Yeah.
someone wants to like sell drugs, yeah, that can be dangerous. But like
Yeah.
the whole pimp and then after the girl and then like now you're in the middle of it and
Yeah.
like there's a guy with a bat. That's unsafe. The murder's massively unsafe. I think I would go with the raid of the FBI.
I think I would too.
Because I wouldn't be as threatened. I'd be more of just like, yo, you're a trap lord and you didn't tell me. Like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like can we split the proceeds at least?
Yeah,
Like, next
I'll
time
wrap
we
Why
get
are
some
you
stuff.
hosting the parties?
Yeah.
No, literally. But that can get dangerous too. If you don't pay someone on time, they'll show up
Absolutely.
at your door with a gun probably. So,
Yeah, or chopping off fingers.
yeah, like drugs aren't safe either. But I just would rather have that
Of the 3.
of the 3. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so. What about you?
Yeah, I'd choose that one. Yeah.
Yeah, you would. Well, we're all in consensus here.
Wow, literally.
The first thing we've all 3 agreed on.
Literally. Mark it down, history.
And mark it down. History in the
Break.
making. Awesome. Okay,
She's like, what's her
perfect.
username?
Oh my God. I love it. That rounds us out on our Roommate Confessions podcast today. If you have any of your own roommate horror stories and you want a chance to be featured on the podcast, reach out to us on our podcast line at 650-271-9641. And don't forget to follow us at Roommate Confessions Podcast on Instagram and soon to be TikTok. And of course, our sponsors, Chillo, if you're looking for that credible, safe, and reliable roommate that you want to know who you're getting into your living situation with, download the Chillo app on Android or iOS today and make sure to follow them at Chillo app on Instagram and TikTok. And of course, we got to round out here. We got to round us out here for Miss Ella. Thank you for joining us
Yes.
today.
Thanks for having me. So much fun to spill a little bit of tea and hear a little bit more tea.
I love it. I love it. Where can our followers follow you at?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Ella Halikas and come follow me.
I love it. Ella, E-L-L-A, Halikas, H-A-L-I-K-A-S.
It's almost like we're related.
It's almost like we're related.
Weird.
Love it. Thank you for being here.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Me too. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Cool.
On the-